Have you ever felt like you could read a room before you even stepped inside? Do you notice the slight shift in a person's tone long before they realize they're upset? Why does your brain automatically calculate every possible exit strategy in a crowded space? Is it anxiety, or is it something much deeper? Most people see a childhood of chaos as a deficit. They call you too sensitive or an overthinker. But they're wrong. You aren't broken. You are evolved. You possess a rare high-level cognitive adaptation born from the fires of survival. It's called traumatic intelligence, a form of intelligence most people don't recognize, but one that has shaped the very way your brain processes the world. Traumatic intelligence isn't a textbook term you'll find in a basic psych class. It's a specialized neurological architecture. Imagine a kid sitting at the dinner table, barely eating, eyes fixed on the way a parent sets down a glass of water. They aren't just eating dinner, they are calculating the velocity of a mood swing, trying to guess if tonight will be peaceful or explosive. When you grow up in an environment where the emotional weather is unpredictable, the brain doesn't just sit there, it adapts, it optimizes. Neuroplasticity tells us that our brains are shaped by our experiences. For you, the stakes were high, so your brain developed a super processor for environmental data. What others call paranoia, science often identifies as hyperattunement. Let's look at the 8 signs you carry this specialized mind. Sign 1 is hyper-reflexive pattern recognition. You don't just see events, you see the invisible threads connecting them. Because you had to predict a sudden shift in your environment to stay safe, your brain became a master of thin slicing information. You see the storm coming while everyone else is still enjoying the sun. Sign 2 is extreme emotional granularity. You don't just feel bad, you feel a specific blend of dismissive resentment mixed with exhausted guilt. This was your survival radar. If you couldn't name the danger with precision, you couldn't avoid it. Sign 3 is adaptive skepticism. You have a built-in nonsense detector. You don't listen to what people say, you watch what they do. This isn't cynicism. It's a high-level filtering system designed to protect your resources from those who haven't earned them. But here is where it becomes dangerous. Most people with this trait end up exhausting themselves because they can never turn the detection off. They see the lie in everyone, making true connection feel like a battlefield. Sign 4 is stress inoculation. In a crisis, while everyone else is panicking, you become eerily calm. Your heart rate might even drop. Why? Because you've lived in crisis mode before. Your baseline is higher than theirs. You were built for the trenches. Sign 5 is social chameleonism. You can mirror anyone, anywhere. This isn't being fake, it's a sophisticated cognitive flexibility. You learned early on that being fluid was the only way to navigate unpredictable social structures. If this sign sounds familiar, it's because your brain is working overtime to protect you. Do you often feel exhausted by this constant need to adapt to the people around you? Sign 6 is the chronic need for microcontrol. You aren't a control freak. You are a precision engineer of your own safety. If the lighting is wrong or the door is unlocked, your brain can't turn off because it's still scanning for variables. Sign 7 is hyperempathy as a tactical advantage. You feel what others feel, not just because you're nice, but because you had to. You can sense a lie in your gut before the logic catches up. It's an internal GPS that rarely steers you wrong. Sign 8 is an intense internal monologue. Your inner voice is loud, analytical, and constant. It's the narrator of your survival. It never stops, because the moment it stops, it feels like the guard has left the tower. Take a breath for a second. If these signs feel like a mirror, you've spent your life thinking you were carrying a backpack full of rocks. You've been told that your sensitivity is a weakness you need to get over. But here is the truth. These are not symptoms of a disorder. They are genuine cognitive adaptations. The world tries to pathologize your brilliance because it doesn't understand the cost. They call it hyper-vigilance. I call it high-definition living. They call it over-analysis. I call it strategic depth. Traumatic intelligence is the ultimate silver lining. It means you took the chaos and turned it into a specialized toolkit. You didn't just survive, you recoded your own operating system to be faster, sharper, and more resilient than the average brain. You are not a victim of your past. You are the architect of a highly advanced mind that was built to withstand things that would break most people. It's a heavy gift, isn't it? There is a certain loneliness in being this tuned in. You might feel like you're watching a movie that everyone else is just listening to. You see the subtext, the shadows, and the hidden costs. But remember this, you possess a form of intelligence that cannot be taught in a classroom. It is earned through the profound experience of navigating the dark and finding your own way out. The next time you feel too much, stop. Recognize the power in your pulse. You aren't broken. The guard in the tower can rest now, not because the world is finally safe, but because you finally know how capable the guard really is. Be honest, how many of these signs did you relate to, and which one hit you the hardest? Let's talk about it in the comments.